Okay, recently I was in New York and I was visiting one of our clients and we were talking about kind of like how to break through plateaus. And they've been struggling for a little bit. They've been trying a bunch of different things, and I mean a lot of different things to try to grow their business. And they were at a point where they were basically like they need to grow their business to achieve their personal goals that they want in their life. And yet for some reason, they're not able to get past the basic plateau that they were at. Most of their problems were around acquisition, basically getting show rates, and their location has something to do with that. No signage really has something to do with that. Their area that they're in is pretty well off. They're not in a bad area. Their training is exceptional from the reviews and everything that I've seen, and knowing them, they take it very seriously. They also like to have fun. They create a great community. I watched one of their sessions. They do a great job of coaching. It just came down to really just an acquisition issue where they were not able to bring in enough people over time to be able to get them to their goal. A lot of it came down to expectations that they had and what they think they should be doing or where they think they should be. So I want to walk through some of these things, and maybe you're struggling with this. Maybe you're plateauing right now. Maybe you've hit a wall and you're trying to figure out, do I need to work harder? Do I need to change direction? Do I need to think about something else, or should I just stay on the path that I'm at right now? And these are kind of the questions that came up. And to be clear, like these are questions that come up in my brain all the time. As the CEO of 3 different businesses, all in the fitness area and industry, I still have my own struggles when I think about this, right? Because success is going to come down to, for the owners, is going to come down to time and resource allocation. That's really all it's going to come down to, is where am I putting my focus, and am I going to put my focus in the thing that's going to get me the highest ROI for my time and attention. And the problem that this couple that I was talking to, these gym owners, is they felt like they were working a ton. And this happens all the time, right? I know this is where I was before I joined Gym Launch. I thought I was working really, really hard. I thought I was doing all the things that I needed to. I was trying all these different things, but nothing was working and I wasn't growing and I wasn't seeing the fruits of my labor, which will lead to what most people believe is burnout. In my opinion, I think that comes from just losing momentum. Like you're not seeing wins and then you start to feel like, what's the point, right? And you get this feeling of despair, and that can happen. The ones that win long-term are willing to take a step back, take the emotion out of it, and they're able to look at, my actions. I feel like I'm working really hard, but if there are no results, if there's no fruit to that labor, I'm planting the seed and nothing is sprouted, there's no fruit, I'm not seeing results, I'm not getting an ROI there. After a certain amount of time, they will take a step back and they'll realize, you know what, it's not even worth it. Right? And so I challenged them when I was there after talking with them, and I asked them about their schedule. I asked them about what they were doing. The problem is a lot of times with entrepreneurs, we feel like we have to be working all of the time. We're told by everyone that you need to work more and you need to work harder. A lot of times in business, there's going to be a point of diminishing returns with our time, especially in a smaller business. And for this business, their primary problem is acquisition. So at some point during the day, they don't need to work 18 hours a day on acquisition because they have a 10-mile radius. Really what needs to happen is they can spend an hour or 2 on copy if they wanted to, an hour or 2 on creative, and then basically they need to make sure that they have sales availability and they're working their leads. That's it. And if they don't have anything else besides that, they have a team already that's running coaching. They have a team that's already doing programming. Everything is already set. And so all they need to do is just make sure that they are focusing their time on the highest leverage stuff. Because inside of a business, there's going to be really only 3 things that you have to focus on. These focus areas are, you can get nitty gritty on these, but the main thing with this is, number 1, do I need to get more clients? 2, can I make them worth more? And then 3, do I need to keep them longer? Meaning, do I have a churn problem? And everything that you're going to do, like, this is the only way to grow a business. These are only 3 ways to do that. And all of your problems or bottlenecks are going to be somewhere in here. The key though is, where should I focus my time and attention? And should I be focusing on all of them at the same time? What I have found after working with gyms for a really long time is that if you are under 20K a month in revenue, you should only be focused on number 1. That is it. You should just be focused on getting more clients. You should be focusing on a better offer, getting more leads, getting more schedules, getting more shows, and working on your sales. That is it. If you just do that and you spend the majority of your time, and what I mean is like your best time. Now, if you have to coach in the morning and you have to be there at 5 a.m. and you have to coach from 5 to 9, okay, well, you have to understand that has to get done. But as soon as that is over, there's no working out. There's no doing anything else. I have to spend all of the meat of my time working on making sure I am writing copy, I am making ads, I am creating organic content, I am building and establishing relationships with other people locally. I'm working my leads, I'm doing my lead nurture, I'm open for sales availability. Everything is pointed towards acquisition. That is it. And I would even argue that for a lot of gyms, you really shouldn't be focused on anything else until you get to about $40,000 a month. But I'll keep it to here first because it's really easy if you dial this in to get above $20,000 a month. Now, when we get to, like, let's say the next step would be around, when you're in that 20K to 50K a month range, this is where you have to have some problems. And this is where this gym is at right now, where you have to start focusing on churn and acquisition. And this is where people get split attention. They're like, oh, I could go try all these different things and I should try to get more acquisition. And I'm struggling in this one area. So my ads are maybe not working as well. And so you know what? I'm gonna go try this crazy affiliate or partnership program with local businesses. I'm gonna spend a ton of time and attention there, hoping for a quick return when that might be the right long-term strategy, but short-term, it's not gonna give you those returns. And so you go into it, you start spending a ton of time, effort on these things that are built for the long-term. And if you expect them to be short-term, you're gonna get really frustrated and really annoyed. And then you're gonna give up on it and then you're gonna move to the next thing. And so it's really important to understand, one, where should I put my focus? Two, what should I put my focus on? And then what are the expected returns on that time? And then you have to make the decision of whether or not this is even worth it, because some things are worth it, but they're gonna be worth it long-term. I'll give you an example. If I'm looking to acquire clients, paid ads is really fast. That's definitely worth it for most gyms. Like, you should be doing that. Organic content is a long-term play, like SEO. It's a long-term play. Yes, you can get leads and you could go viral, right? And that would be great. But viral doesn't help you if you're a local brick and mortar gym with a 10-mile radius of clients. Going viral is really cool for our ego and makes us look really good. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't actually drive leads and business into our gym, then it doesn't actually help the business. And this is the core root of what I'm trying to say, is so many times in our just day, every single day in business, we do so many things that don't actually help the business grow. So many times I talk to gym owners all the time. And what they do is they focus on things that will keep the business the same. So they focus on their programming, they focus on their retention, they focus on their classes, and they focus on all these things, and it's like circling the wagons. And they focus on this because they're afraid to go out and actually grow. And I see this in a lot of businesses, period. And this is a strategy that some different industries actually focus on, where they kind of circle the wagons, stay the same, and make sure that they just don't mess anything up. It's a broken model, especially in today's innovation with consumers and everything else. If you are a gym owner and you are not growing, it's most likely because you are focused on doing the wrong things, aka you're focused on more so internally inside of your business and your ops and everything else. You need to be focused on getting more clients. Churn is gonna happen. People are gonna leave. People get hurt. People move. All that stuff. You can't sit back and be like, yeah, well, if I take out all the people that got hurt and I take out all the people that moved and I take out all the people whose payments failed and just kind of ghosted me, well, then I have a really low churn rate. Well, guess what? Your bank account doesn't care. Your bank account only tracks the stuff, all the payments that are missing. That's it. And so if you want to grow your business, your focus has to be solely on that first. Am I saying that you can completely ignore the other stuff? In a lot of cases, yes, because it doesn't actually matter. And the thing that we do to ourselves is we lie to ourselves and we tell ourselves that this stuff actually does matter because it makes us feel good because we're working hard, but we're not actually getting anything done. And then we look back 6 months and we're like, I haven't grown. Why haven't I grown? Well, it's because you're living the same 6 months over and over and over again and doing the exact same thing, expecting a different result. And yet here we are again, you haven't grown. And so when I was there, I was talking to them and I understand their frustration because I lived that. I have done that and I have made that mistake. And it is not fun to be in that space. And the only way to break out of that space is to take a step back and realize that I don't care how hard I work, I don't care what I'm doing, if it's not driving results for the business, if it's not getting more people in, if it's not increasing cash flow, if it's not increasing revenue and increasing profit, then I shouldn't be doing it. It is a waste of my time. And that is hard because there are a lot of things in that may not be growing your gym that you like to do. Well, who cares? Here's the problem. It's like, you're not in the business just because you like to do stuff. You're in a business to change lives. You're on the forefront. You're on the front lines. You are a frontline healthcare worker. It is your job to go out and save as many lives as you possibly can and prevent them from ever having to go to a hospital. And if you are passionate about that, then there's gonna be a lot of stuff that you don't wanna do, but you're gonna have to do it, because it's the right thing to do and it's the only thing that will actually help you achieve your mission and your goal. Now, the great part about all of this is that if you do this right, you're gonna be able to make more money, you're gonna be able to build a team, you're gonna be able to change more lives, and you're gonna be able to create a lot more time freedom for yourself. Now, that was a little bit of a rant. Back to this. If you're under $20,000 a month, then you need to focus on just get more. But if you're in that $20,000 to $50,000 a month range right here, then you're pretty much just gonna be working on 1 in 3. 1 in 3 is really simple, right? In 1 in 3, I'm getting more and I'm keeping them longer. But here's the problem that happens, especially with focus, is let's say acquisition is down. So I'm not getting as many leads, as many scheduled appointments, as many closes. So it's like, okay, I gotta go focus on this. And then you get that ramped up and you're doing really well and you start to see some traction there, but you don't have quite the systems in place so that it's on autopilot or close to semi-autopilot. Then all of a sudden you look at your numbers and retention is going down. Right? And so churn is spiking, you have a bad month, and then all of a sudden you're like flipping out and you're like, oh, we gotta fix this. And then what happens is you go in, you fix it, you don't see the results for a little bit, but you feel like you're doing better, and then all of a sudden acquisition drops. That's because focus is so important and attention is so important. And if I was gonna tell you anything, I would solely focus on acquisition, get the process and the systems in place there so that you do have the time to focus on retention. Retention takes a while to see the results. It's not immediate. Like our average client, when they do the 5 horsemen of retention, in 3 months, they're going to cut, on average, they're gonna cut their churn by over 50%. But here's the thing, the very first month that they start implementing the 5 horsemen of retention, their churn spikes by 50%. So if you're at 10%, the first month they do it, they're at 15%. Then the next month it drops by 50%. Now here's the thing, they started at 10, they went to 15, drops by 50%, now they're at 7.5. Then from there, it drops another 50%. So this is over the course of 3 months. In that 3 months, if you stop focusing on acquiring new clients, well, that's great. If you stop focusing over here, you're not gonna get any new clients in and you're not gonna grow. And so there has to be the ability to focus on the stuff that matters and set the right people and processes in place. My suggestion is on acquisition, get it to a place where you can have people running your ads, you have someone working your leads, and that you are closing them, or you have a great salesperson. But in most cases, if you're under $50,000 a month, I think the owner should still be selling. I think it's the best way to do it. Right? It's for most boutique style fitness facilities, CrossFit, semi-privates, boot camps, strength and conditioning facilities, you should be closing because it's the most important thing that you can do for your business. And most of y'all, like myself, we love retention stuff. We love all that stuff. That's easy. Like we love the programming, we love making the classes exciting, we love doing events, we love getting out in the community, we love making people smile, we love making them sweat, we love helping them across the board. That's the fun stuff. For most gym owners, in my experience, myself included, acquisition was the hard part. It's the thing that we don't really want to do because most of the time we just suck at it. Well, guess what? Sucking is only temporary. It's the best advice I ever got from a coach. It's only temporary. You can suck for a little bit and then just keep practicing. Then you suck a little bit less and then you get to a point where you don't suck at all. But it's going to take time and it takes focus, right? Once you get to 50K a month, this is where a lot of gyms stall out hard, like real hard. They don't get to 50K, and once they do, they stall out hard because they need to be able to make their clients worth more to them. So now they're focusing on all 3 because at 50K a month, if we're over this, we're doing a decent amount. Whether you're a semi-private, you're a large group, even a health club, right? You have a ton of members that you have to focus on, which means that churn is always going to be a problem. Now, if you get to 50K a month, that means you have most likely a pretty good acquisition machine. You just have to keep that thing going, make sure that you now are outpacing your churn. And so at this point, there's really 3 things that have to happen. 1, you have to focus on churn. That is one thing, right? But the most important thing, in my opinion, is making them worth more. So you could just call it expansion revenue. This is doing things like upsells, cross-sells, bolt-ons, all those different things. And granted, some of them you should be doing across the board, right? If you should be selling supplements from day 1 you open your gym. If you're not selling supplements, you need to be doing that. It's upsells into a higher level of program. If you're a semi-private facility, maybe it's upselling them into a bolt-on nutrition and accountability, or maybe it's upselling them into one-on-one training if you have the team and the ability to do that. If you're a large group and you have the space, it's selling them into a semi-private, right? I go over all of this in regards to adding layers to your business in my Wedding Cake Gym Profit Model video where I walk through how to build it. So you guys can check that out. But expansion revenue is a really easy way to get to a $1 million a year run rate. Very easy. And the third thing, and this is where what really keeps most gyms from being able to grow, is leadership. And in leadership, it's not just being a leader, but it's also being able to spot talent, to attract talent, to be able to hire them. How do I even hire them? How do I train them? How do I keep them? How do I bonus them? What should I pay them? And how do I make sure that I build a culture of people that are bought into the vision and the mission of my facility? And how do I help keep them growing, right? And so when I get to that point, these are the things that most gyms need to focus on. Good news is at this point, they probably have a decent team. They probably just need to get that next step into being a better leader and finding someone to kind of replace themselves as a GM and take over that leadership perspective. And then the big thing is just never losing sight of what matters most. And the things that matter most are get more members, make them worth more, and keep them longer. And in each stage, it's gonna be slightly different. Now, to bring this home, what I told them, to give you an idea, what I told them that they should be doing, because they're younger, they've been married a couple years, and they don't have any kids, and they have this business, and they want to grow it. And they're stressed out because they want, especially the guy, because he founded it. He's stressed out because he's like, I feel like I should be working all of the time. And I was like, yeah, I get it. He's like, I feel guilty if I'm not working. They're also living back with their parents, and I understand it because I have had to do that. I've lived with my in-laws before, and like I've done it twice in the past. So like I have gone through that, and I understand the shame, the fear, the sense of failure as a man when you have to move back in with your in-laws and you have a business and it's not working. I get it. Every day I would look in the mirror and I would just look at myself and I'd be like, you're a failure. You're failing as a father, you're failing as a husband, you're failing as a business owner. Like, what are you doing, right? And this becomes a really rough place to be. The only way to get out of it is to get through it. And so I told him, if acquisition is your primary problem, because we identified it, this is the primary problem, then all you and your wife need to do is just focus on this. And you need to split ownership, and this is the only thing. So now we get into like, cool, now how do you work harder? Well, you do more volume in those areas. You don't do a volume of different things. You do more volume, concentrated volume within the actual problem you're trying to solve. And you take the actions, do a ton of volume in the actions that are actually gonna matter. So more content, more ads, more copywriting, more stories, more reactivation, all these things. Then his wife would do also content, but also do better lead nurture. They would start mixing it up. They'd add videos, try different things, but all of that is the only thing that matters. And I told them, I was like, listen, you're younger. I think they're 31 and 26. When you look back and you're 50 years old, you're gonna look back and you'll be like, yeah, that was a struggle, but man, we didn't have kids. We just had a business. We didn't really have any responsibilities outside of the business. I wish we would have spent more time together and less time stressing about that business, because they're young, they're super skilled, they have a ton of opportunity. And even if the business, for some crazy reason, which it won't, if for some crazy reason they have to shut down the gym, they could go and get jobs and make even more money than they are in the gym right now. But they're so passionate about helping people. And so what I told them was, I was like, listen, you have to solely focus on the things that are most important. So work your leads, get more leads, do more content, do everything there to get more people in the door. And then when you are done with that for the day, set a goal for yourself every single day. If I do this one thing, then I win the day. Do that one thing, and then afterwards, go F off. Like, go have fun, be human. Be a married couple, go hike, go do whatever. Now they have to maintain, like make sure they have time for sales appointments, but if you don't have any sales appointments scheduled for that day, then just go enjoy each other, go enjoy life, go do stuff outside of the gym. You actually get to realize, like, a lot of times we create this prison for ourselves, right? Where as gym owners and entrepreneurs, we're in a unique position to be able to create the life that we want. And a lot of times we don't like that life, but we're the ones that created it. The guy, the husband, he had put so much pressure on himself, which is a good thing in certain scenarios. It's a good thing to put pressure on himself because he drives it and he wants more. But he also has created a place where he feels like he's failing all the time and he hates it. And he created this prison for himself of this life that he feels like he has to do because everyone's telling him you have to work more, you have to work harder and all this stuff. And it's like, no, you need to work harder on the stuff that matters. You don't have to work 24 hours a day. You have to work harder on the stuff that matters and start saying no to everything else that doesn't matter. And then you can go and enjoy the time off that you actually have and enjoy life. That is how you're able to create a life that is sustainable. Otherwise, it's not gonna matter. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? Sure, there are people out there that love working 24/7, and that is what gives them energy. But for a lot of gym owners that are probably listening to this and watching this right now, that's not you. You are probably doing it because you care about people and you wanna be able to provide a life for your family. And you wanna be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, and you wanna be able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. You have to remember to take the wins that you have and enjoy the time that you have because you're never gonna get it back. And so my advice to this gym owner, maybe it'll hit hard for some of you, is like pick one thing every single day that you're gonna do that is directly correlated to the problem you're trying to solve, and then do it to the best of your ability and focus on that. Once you are done with that for the day, if there's no fires, nothing else, and you don't have anything else, then just go enjoy your time as husband and wife and enjoy the life, because there's very few times in life where you will have this much freedom in your life to go do the things that you want to. It's a very random YouTube video, but I hope this is valuable for anyone out there that's struggling, hitting a plateau, wondering where they should put their focus, how they should think about it. At the end of the day, where you put your focus is where you're gonna grow or decline. And if you are in a place where you have plateaued, the only thing that will matter is you getting more leads, more scheduled appointments, more shows, and more closes. That is it. And if you're doing anything in your business that doesn't actually directly correlate to you getting those 4 things, then you are actively trying to not grow your business. And so if you are saying that you want to be a place that changes lives, you have a mission, you have a vision, and you want to grow, and you are not doing those things, you need to take a good, long, hard look in the mirror and switch it. Because if you are working all of the hours and you feel overworked, you feel burned out, all this stuff, because you're not getting results, it simply comes down to the fact that you are doing the wrong stuff. And as soon as you switch that and you start seeing results, all of a sudden, life becomes a lot more fun. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got some value. Hit that like, subscribe button if you guys want to hear more. Drop a comment down below. If you want more rants, I will give some more rants. But appreciate y'all, as always. Gym owners rule.